Access Board of Directors meeting to order. It's Tuesday, July 22nd, and do you want to call the roll, Barney? Just use this one.
Yes, Octaviano has an appointment today. Maybe he will be here at 8, 1 hour.
Okay.
Oh, there's a chair there, Larry.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum, and we're ready for public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to participate? Zen Destiny?
I want to talk to you about a couple of things. I'm asking that you consider an alteration of the bylaws that only allows the membership to remove a director by, like, let's say, a 2/3 write-in vote of the whole general membership. I agree with the fact that a small minority should be able to call a meeting for any reason. I don't think that a small group of people, and then 50% of those people that show up at meetings should really be able to disrupt the whole process and be able to remove a director without cause. There's already, any director can be removed by the other directors at any time. So I'm asking for you to consider placing it on the agenda for discussion for the next meeting, that the membership can only remove a director with a 2/3 write-in vote of the participating overall general membership. And secondly, I want to be on this bylaws committee, so I like, at some point, I'd like to be placed on that bylaws committee. Also, I'm asking you, I want to chair a Phoenix committee. I want to do something with these kids over here. They're right around the corner. A lot of them have sort of, marginalized themselves in their lives. I think there's a way for them to sort of feed into the larger society at large and do some constructive things. So I'm asking if you actually create a Phoenix subcommittee. I'm asking John if he would consider being on that committee, or anyone who is interested. So I'd like to chair Phoenix subcommittee. Also,
to engage the kids, is that what you're talking
yes,
about?
ma'am. I want to create a committee. I want to put Zach on it. I want to put Tom for the Phoenix on it, and I want to put up some flyers for them. Get some of these kids. They're right across the street over there. They're just hanging out. A lot of them really aren't doing anything constructive. I think there's a way we can get these kids to buy into the things that's happening here, make their own TV. Tons of them are musicians. They could be filming little events over here. I film for them. I just think that they could find it's going to be a constructive thing for them. So what I'm asking you to do is create a Phoenix subcommittee and allow me to chair it, and anyone who's interested in sitting on that committee is totally welcome. And I'm going to try to be brief here. Okay, I want to address the issue, the race issue that caused the mass exodus. I believe that the Latinos were always welcome at PCA. Helder got caught giving his keys out to his friends who were going in the studio late at night. No equipment was missing. I'm not insinuating nothing like that. He was being admonished by the executive director for that and a number of other anomalies, not the least which included some questionable things around the handling of funds. I'm not making any insinuations. And he was being called out for that in a memorandum, and he insisted that he didn't have diplomatic immunity. He resigned. She accepted his resignation, and the next thing you know, a totally fabricated race issue was made around that woman, and that woman was innocent. She's one of the most unracist people in the world. And I was really racism exists, especially around, everybody's illegal but the Indians. The way the immigrants are handled right now is terrible. What ICE is doing, splitting up families, leaving 2- and 3-year-old kids, is terrible. There's true, legitimate racism around Latinos, and it really diminishes the real racism that happened when this bogus race issue, and calling the Human Rights Commission, and a totally innocent woman who there were nights when she'd go to her car, there would be men leaning against the car, a few cars nearby. And there's a safety issue here. And it goes back to the time when Larry came in and sequestered an executive director and scared all those women there and wouldn't let him out of his office. And there's had to be, we have an obligation to the safety of our employees. So she would go to her car and there would be men that she did not know leaning against cars nearby. She was scared. She was frightened. And they were, so the whole race issue was totally fabricated, and I was really disappointed with that. And there needs to be really openness and general accountability. And I'm going to fight this proposal to reduce the number of board members, and I'll discuss with that later, because I feel like it's disenfranchising most of them. And now more than ever, we need greater community participation. But people have a right to be safe here, and there wasn't a philosophical difference of opinion for why the board directors resigned en masse. Those people were, that woman was harassed. An innocent woman was harassed, and she was made to not feel safe. So I want to bust a play on the bogus race issue. That's all, thank you.
Amen. Okay,
I'm sorry if I
thanks.
went on too long.
No, thanks. Does anyone have questions or present?
I'd like to make a comment. Zen, I appreciate where you're coming from, but I have to disagree with you almost 100%. I got involved in it shortly after Helger was locked out, and that's what it was. I went to several of the board meetings, especially the one where a restraining order was placed against Diane and Helger because they said there was a mob. I was there, I was involved, I met with Julie and Mr. Green and Mr. Hananias. We met with Julie and also John, who was the head of the board at the time, and tried to work out some of the issues, and we were misled. And so I disagree with you. I think you're just not familiar with what went on. Obviously you have your opinion, but I was there. I know what happened. And we were lied to when we first met with her. We were misled. I believe it was deliberate. And I was at the meeting. It was not a mob. There were a lot of concerned people because Helder was a cherished member of the organization and an asset. We all agreed he was an asset. We all agreed, for the most part, I say all of us, way over 80% agreed he was an asset, and that we wanted him back. We didn't know what the difficulty was. And we couldn't find out whether he resigned or not. Well, we did find out. He did not resign. He claims he did not resign. So I understand where you're coming from, and I think, I don't know where you got your information at. I was there, and I think you're just mistaken.
Any other public comment this evening? Seeing no other public, oh, Diane, I'm sorry.
Let's see, I was gonna comment on the AT&T U-verse. I spent about a week on that, and I don't know if Steve's gonna be commenting on that, he's gonna be commenting about that at all, then I won't.
I can't do that.
Okay, because I was concerned about the revenue that could be lost from PCA, and I did get a phone call about 15 minutes ago from AT&T about AT&T U-verse, and they say they're taking orders and it's available. I could get it installed, they said, in a week. So that's the AT&T person. But I have not, I want to change, but I haven't, because until I can confirm that I can watch the public access channels and that there will be a fee on my bill for PCA, paid fee. And I understand that it may be limited to 25 cents, it's the 1% of the revenue that they make. So it could be we could lose money on this. And so I know the tech committee's meeting tomorrow night. I'm probably gonna go, they did put it on the agenda. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I was kind of curious as to what the status of PCA's website is. You know, I know Marcel offered to volunteer, I think Cassandra offered to. It would be really great to be able to have like agendas and things like that on the website. Also, as far as, well, I guess you're going to talk about communities later, and I just want you all to know that anything I can do to help John or any of you on any committees, I'm a fountain of information. So I just wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I want to know when we start to make a programs for our community. Our community have to know what happened, what we do. Like Mayor Pound is working hard for the city. Not many people know what happened, you know, and use the equipment for PCA, just for the PCA purposes, not for the personal purposes. So I think the people get a camera outside to do something, because have to bring what a specific do in the street, not for special purposes or whatever it is, and start to fight with the people, call names and everything, because probably somebody say we are very violent, but we are honest, and we like to work. We like to do something for all communities in the right way. It's supposed to be. Many people know what happened in the street over here. Why? Because we got to do something. I make application. I'm sorry. Okay, I need a camera. So I go right now over there. I feel, and what he's done, and Keller is making something for the city, and everybody have to know how our mayor Amela is working for us. Many people don't know how. We have to work in that point. Schools and everything.
Right.
I know for all different purposes.
That's why we have John.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, it's okay. I want
that's
everybody
good.
knows
That's good feedback, Moises.
my point, It's my point because we are hungry to work. We're not hungry to get money. We don't get money.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right.
Hi. I would like to thank John for speaking to council meeting last night. I think it was very good what you said, and it's important to people to know what really happened here. And I would like to disagree with this and listen to what he said to council meeting last night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm pleased that we all can agree to disagree and not fight. I love that.
See?
Okay, yeah, it works. Okay, let's see, we heard from Richard. Do you have any other comment, Richard? Or anyone else here?
Yeah, I do have a comment. Regarding just specifically to the comments made by the public, or
Sure,
just in general?
sure.
Just in general?
Both.
Okay.
You can respond to the public comment you just heard and then make other announcements and comments
Okay,
as,
I would like to thank the volunteers that helped us move.
yes.
It was quite a project, and it was all done through volunteers. Larry brought his truck over, we had a number of people. Zach brought the company truck over. We made a lot of trips, and we managed to save everything that was pulled down. We got, from this old studio, we got the framework, the pipe framework, which we actually had to cut in half. Larry and Moses and myself, we actually had to cut the pipes in half. They were 22 feet long, so we actually cut them in half so we can manage to move them out. And we moved those out. We've got the gutters that came down that were above them that held all the wires. We got the hangers that held everything up in the air. So we managed to save just about everything.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
So it's available for use. Hopefully we'll be able to use it again or part of it again. We got the curtain, we got the curtain rods. So we managed to get everything, thankfully to the public, the members.
You also got all that equipment along the wall to Goodwill. Every piece.
Good deal.
Thanks to the high school football team.
Yeah, they were very helpful too. Yeah.
What they're referring to is we had a whole wall of old players, decks, computers. And we got the bodybuilding guys next door to come by, and they made a line. 30 guys, 5 minutes, it was all out of town. The whole thing.
It was about 100 or over 100 degrees. It was really
Yeah.
hot.
That was great. Man, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Darius, a couple other things. I'd like to request is we still need the binders for the bylaws for the board members. And,
I did bring you all bylaws for tonight.
okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
The other thing is, at some point, I think we should discuss having, calling an extra meeting, another meeting. If we wait for a month to go by, we just have too many things that aren't being taken care of, and that we need to find out about. And if we wait for month to month, it just drags out, makes it too long, it's gonna take forever. So whether it's executive board meeting or just another several meetings in general, maybe we should consider scheduling an extra meeting each month until we get some of these things answered and researched.
Yeah, the ideal situation was be to get a lot of this work done in the subcommittees, and then all we'd have to do is bring to this body once a month and just either
But
approve,
the
disapprove,
problem is,
discuss,
of course, we're
whatever.
still forming those committees.
Right,
Committees
right,
are-
we got a lot of steps left here to take before we.
And of course, as one of the members mentioned, the AT&T Universe fees update, and what's happening with that.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing no more director's comments, has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? And while we still have some challenges as far as communicating, well, we got it taken care of tonight, we have Bruno, so, Richard, you're the only one that doesn't have email now.
Well, I was hoping we could get something set up for members or board members that don't have email, maybe something set up here, so they could come down here and look at it.
Sure, I don't see why not,
Yeah, I have to get my address.
That would make a good excuse for not saying it.
because we're supposed to have a board at PCA designation, I don't know if that's even workable or
Yeah, well-
functional anymore.
Diane asked a question about the website, I haven't begun to address the question of the website,
I know.
but it's on the list.
Okay, is there any amendments to this agenda, anything that we need to delete? Steve, do you think we're ready for the employment contract for the executive director? Should we table that for the next meeting? Okay, good, so we'll remove item 6, we'll table
I
that.
haven't been able to get back to you on that.
That's right, it's on there twice too.
Okay, so we'll
It's
table
also
that for the
lapsed.
August meeting. Yeah, I feel better about doing that also, I just put it on there in case.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Just one other thing, I noticed there's not comment requested from the treasurer, and I have some comments I can make if you like.
I did forget to put treasurers on here. The
I'm
treasurer's.
not complaining.
They're supposed to be the treasurer's report. Okay, this is just a typo, so it's a standing item that we have treasurer's report, so I hope there's no objections to us writing in the treasurer's report. Okay. Okay. All right, so just that little small amendment and the removal of item 6, can we get a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have an agenda, and do we have any minutes to approve?
Oh, I definitely see that.
Yeah, are those minutes?
Yeah, for the last
Absolutely.
meeting,
Okay.
maybe we need to add some.
I'll help out with that right now.
Madam Chair, can I just interject? Jorge and I talked before that, when the second, but Dave Rose just made a motion and said he seconded it. And then we'll move. Okay.
Are you a backup or?
He just had some questions. and I
Okay,
just-
yeah, I'll help too. We'll
Good.
both mentor you, okay? Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, this is the June minutes. Do we have May minutes? Does anybody ever know what happened to the May minutes? I have a feeling they were lost.
Did them. I'll have to go back and look at my file, because I keep everything
Okay, 'cause
an
I-
archive file
Yeah,
somewhere.
the records I have show that they never got approved, but.
Yeah, I don't think they ever got approved. I think that in the changeover, they just sort of went into space and left it.
Okay, let's make a note to try and recover those if we can. And again, I hope people are forgiving that the paperwork is not in the best shape right now. We're doing the best we can to recover things. We have a lot of receipts and things that are missing, so we're just gonna make it good from here on.
These invoices.
Thank you.
You can share.
There's none left.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we approve these at the next meeting since we haven't had a chance to look at them, instead of taking out time?
Would that be the pleasure of the board? You wanna wait till the next meeting
If
to?
you'd like to, that's fine.
Okay.
This seems like a lot to comprehend.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't realize there were so many pages. Okay, that'd be fine with me. And then we'll work towards having the minutes of this meeting available before the next meeting, so we can just approve them all if everybody's okay with that. Is that good?
Yep, that'll be fine.
Okay? Okay. Okay. Executive Director's Report,
Who are you gonna put treasurer's
whichever, we can do the Treasurer's Report first. You wanna do Treasurer's
Yeah,
first?
sure.
Okay, let's do Treasurer's first then.
Okay. This here. As you know, we're still trying to get a handle on where all the money went. And we scheduled, I understand, the meeting gonna be scheduled between the bookkeeper, myself, and Cindy, and a few other people, and to get some information. So we still have information to get. It's not that we're trying to avoid it or we don't want it. We'll keep at it until we have everything and understand it, where everything went. It's just gonna take some time. We had to move over to the city hall. Like I say, volunteers, we moved out of the old space, it was strictly with volunteers, there was no expense there, except, I think gas, maybe we put gas in the truck. And I don't even think that went on our account. There's, the Comcast fiber got hooked up, through Tim down at City Hall, and, we're expecting a bill for that. The dish, our hookup for the dish, so we could show the programs as we were in the transition of moving. That got hooked up, and then we're expecting a bill for that also. And the DSL lines, and it's another bill we're expecting. And we're hoping that we can get this paid through the capital funds. Because right now our bank account is a little drained, and so we're hoping to build that back up, but right now we're a little drained. We have the account at the B of A now, and there's been four signatures on it. Cindy, myself, Mr. Carmichael, and John. It was John or two John? Yeah, we're all but down.
Four.
And so there's four on there, and that's at the B of A now, and that branch is down at the Lucky, I believe it's Lucky, still Lucky down there on Lakeville. What else? There are, like I say, there are, huh?
Just make a move.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's easier.
Then I can't shop.
Whatever.
But, so there are some, like I say, there are some ongoing questions, like the audit. Do we have the old audit that was supposedly finished? I haven't seen it. I suggest
I
maybe.
saw a copy of that.
I suggest we make some copies and make it available. Certainly don't want to keep anything secret. There's nothing secret about it. Some of the monies that left the organization at the end, just before the resignations, we're trying to track down and find out where it went. There's a considerable amount of money involved. I think that's what we did last meeting. Let's see. We'd like to get the hookup here so we can watch our own shows, and hopefully that'll be coming, and that hopefully won't be a large expense. I think that's all for the moment. Like I say, there are things we're checking on, and as far as the budget goes, we're not quite sure how much money we're spending yet. Correct, John? As far as day-to-day operation, besides the cleanup of the move, connection fees.
So for now, I just pulled in my report.
Please give us an idea.
Yeah, we are operating in an extraordinary situation, and I told my staff, don't worry about overtime, get it done, get what needs to be done. And that, this window between June and July is it's hard to quantify. In August, I hope to have things more stable.
Sure.
Yeah.
The general answer.
In a nutshell, we're hurting until we get that Comcast check, and I think what's
Do we
really.
have invoices for some of the move stuff that we I could probably get paid for that kind of thing within a week, if you just give me
Yeah,
invoices.
I can separate out all the hardware installation.
Yeah, so
Specifically,
everything that was done.
yeah, there's $6,000 in server and workstation in this room right now, and other stuff as well. I don't know if the 1,600 we pay to have the light grid taken down count as capital expense. No. I need to go more into that though, because I have only been able to find a letter saying that $50,000 was dispersed to PCA from the capital expense fund for the mobile purchase.
Okay.
I have a written letter that from Kate Crump, I believe,
Right.
50,000 is coming. I have receipts for close to 70,000. I don't know if any of the 50,000 has been justified with receipts. I don't know the status of that payout. And today I just
I
received.
think Katie requires receipts before she'll pay the money.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought we had to spend it out of our operating funds and we would get reimbursed, but it looks like it goes in advance,
There was advance on
I think.
That's highly extraordinary.
it. Yeah, that'd be surprising, but that's very possible.
I'll
I
find
don't
the,
know all the particulars.
I'll find the mail, the letter.
Okay.
But I just received today that there is $14,000 more due for the multi-unit unpaid bills past due.
How much?
14,000. I don't know if that's factored into the 68,000 that I have receipts for. They could be invoices, they could be bills that didn't get paid, or it could be on top of that. So when we talk about capital expense funds, there's certainly 50 that went out, and there may be another 50 spent.
We could probably convince Tom to come to our next meeting. Yeah, it might be
Tom.
helpful if he were here. But, I mean, I don't know what, he was our treasurer.
Tom Pastor, yeah.
Well, I think, and you can correct me here, but isn't there a fiduciary responsibility to those board members that self-terminated to provide us with the record keeping of the finances?
Well, I know, as far as I heard, that Tom had turned everything over to the bookkeeper, but I don't know that for a fact, but we can certainly contact him.
I
and
had a
find
long,
out.
I had a long exchange with Tom about
Okay.
his help, and his help was contingent on getting back on board.
And I was at the bookkeeper's office on Friday, and they're just as baffled as we are at why our books don't balance. I mean, they way don't balance.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just spent today getting $2,251 into the bank that had been stacking up from membership fees. Tomorrow I'm going to go through this box full of bills, and I will pull out the ones that need to get paid quick. And last I heard, we had like $300 to pay.
Yeah, 350 on Friday after the checks.
I haven't cashed my check,
Yeah, so I don't understand why we're almost
and I just put
overdrawn and you haven't cashed your check yet. So there's something else floated in the meantime that we don't know about.
This is the statement I picked up the other day that I told you about,
Mhm.
just yesterday. It has a time date.
Right, so if what the bookkeeper told me that we would, after all the payroll checks cleared, we should have 350 in the bank. That doesn't make sense, because if John has not cashed his check, there's barely enough in here to cover his check, if I remember what your check was.
Yes, it's not covered.
And that's-
There are,
Well, all the more reason for us to get some of those capital numbers over to the city, because we can cut through.
I'll shift that to capital
Okay.
tomorrow and bring those.
Okay,
Can I just ask one question though,
Sure.
about the Comcast check, how does it come to us? Where should I be looking?
it comes to the post office box, it's directly to us.
I've been going there every day this week, so
Right.
I'm checking there. That's nice.
Just got a question, before we start getting more money coming in and just paying everything that we owe as well, which is, I'm okay with that at a certain point. So we'll be looking really to what has been happening to the money, you know. I believe at the last meeting, we did have about $19,000. We were, what, about a month ago? I mean, right now, they're saying barely $300, besides the money that, you know, you
Well,
just deposit and so.
You've got payroll, we've got a lot of outstanding bills, I was
Two
trying bills that
payrolls.
hadn't been paid since.
Yeah.
We have office
April.
rent now.
Then we have office rent,
I'm-
and we had the move, but we're gonna.
Yeah, but besides that, you were talking about the old audit that was done. I'm wondering if some of these, or part of these expenses have been taken into consideration at that old audit.
You know, I don't know, it's my understanding that that audit wasn't covered last year or the year before. So it's not really an update on it.
All right.
We're
I don't think
trying
it
to
covers
catch up.
2008 at all.
So that's basically where I wanna go now. I think we definitely need to have something new that, you know, that we could probably say, okay, this is where the money went, or this is what happened, because you were mentioning before, there was a difference between $50,000 to $70,000 on outstanding bills that were either paid or not, and right now you just come up with a $14,000, you know, surprise that you don't even know if it's on it or not. So, that, you know, Cindy is pretty much surprised as well, that there's a lot of money that is just, has been disappearing, let's put it that way, you know. So I
Well,
think we gotta
we're
really
due
look
for
into
another
that.
audit, and that'll all come out in the audit.
Yeah, I think
It's-
we'll find
it's-
out, we'll keep digging till we find out.
Please, yeah.
Right.
If it takes a little longer, then it takes a little longer.
Absolutely, and we'll involve the Attorney General when and if appropriate, and
Whatever's
yeah.
necessary.
Right.
There's no sense of being a secret.
Well, I think we're gonna try to have a good track now, you know, besides getting some money from the city and the new check that is coming and so forth, but, I mean, we gotta be clear with the public out there, and I myself not clear at all where the money went. Even, you know, I was part of the old executive, you know, the people that resignated and so forth, but I didn't get my cut.
Yeah, just so
We
you
don't-
all
we don't have
know,
questions, and we don't have
the,
questions.
the expenses, the monthly expenses for payroll, overhead, and whatnot, on a normal month is between $8,000 and $10,000, so we're really walking on thin ice right now, so,
We have three positions that we no longer have. There were three positions that are no longer.
There were 3 people that paid,
Well,
not all
not-
full-time.
Yeah, so-
we've assumed rent though, we've
Oh, yeah,
assumed
but I-
insurance on
just-
2 vehicles?
I think until we get a chance to establish what the costs are gonna be, and it's a little bit hard to give a budget, you know, but I mean,
Right.
it'll all become clear as we pay them, as the bills come due.
Mhm.
And we'll have some hard numbers.
Yeah, I have one more question. I think it was 2 years ago that we were given an extra bucket of money from Comcast, I think it's 5,000 a year, was there,
It's before my time, I don't know, sorry.
oh boy, you know what I'm talking about? There was a
The
one-time
well,
fund.
it was a settlement agreement the city made
Oh,
with
it's part of the
Comcast.
settlement agreement with
And
Comcast?
it's 35,000, I think, the city gets a year. It's a grant, I guess they call it a grant, and it goes into the general fund, but then there's a side agreement now, if it's really well written, that they give it to PCA to use.
In 5-year increments, right?
Well, I believe every year, and I think we use some of it to upgrade City Hall, that's what we upgrade the cameras. But,
I meant 1-year increments over 5 years is what I meant.
I know that they gave, from what I read from Katie Crunk, is that I believe it was the advance came out of that. It was that night, that fund.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, that was for the move. So, and then there's the other fund, which is the capital equipment fund that the city holds as an agency fund. That's what I believe will be.
Okay, we'll look into that too.
Was it when it's a KPC?
Okay, what was your question, Diane, or comment?
Well, one concern, my husband just said something, so I'm just gonna bring it up, is Tom Vassar had said, it's about 2 meetings ago, that there was we owed an outstanding bill to PG&E and had to do with KPCA, and he was gonna be contacting Sonoma State and the church to ask for their third, and so I don't know if that's still an outstanding bill or not, just wanted to throw that out.
It is.
They
Well,
owe
I
us money,
think, no, I think
yeah.
we paid it.
Yeah, they owe us
I
money.
paid the PG&E bill right off the top.
Right,
Oh.
there was an
And-
outstanding bill on, yes, we had.
And I have been in contact with Sonoma State for their share. I haven't started to chase down the other share.
But what I wanted to mention is that, you know, the way I feel about this is that, I think the board and I think the public, I'd like to see copies of the bank statements for, you know, past, I don't know, 6 months or something, just so we can see where everything went, because you said close to $100,000 was spent. What was it spent on?
That's not unreasonable.
Pardon me?
I said, that's not unreasonable.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse me, this is unreasonable. In the last month, when the mass exodus was already being discussed.
No, I mean, it's not unreasonable to that.
Oh, for her to ask for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for just,
Well, that's what the audit is for, and the audit shows the public.
but the audit
Right.
doesn't show the bank statements. This happened before, with the previous board a few years ago. And so what they did is they just, actually Tom Vasker, when he would do his treasurer's report, he included the bank statements in the back, the check
Right.
numbers, right?
Sorry.
But then he stopped doing it, I think, the last couple of months, so, and that would be Bank of Marin, I guess, and that's what I'm asking to see, and I think that you would help Richard. Also, the activity and budget, due to City of Petaluma activity report and budget, we're supposed to have a budget to the city in May. And so, I don't know, maybe finally you said you were gonna talk to Peter and Jude,
No,
finance
that-
committee.
No, I was gonna talk to Peter and Jude to help me make sense of the filing system, because each ED had their own filing system, so we have triple sets of files. And I wanna reduce it, I've got a new lock on the 2-drawer file cabinet, which is gonna become my new drawer, and the other one's in storage. So that's another process. But the, what was the other issue just
Well, we need to
brought?
have a budget, we don't have a budget.
Yeah,
I mean,
the activities plan and budget was due in May, and Steve has confirmed that we can go till mid-August, of course.
So, but, I mean, don't we need to have a budget, don't we need to know how much money do we expect to spend a month, and how much we expect to
Well,
bring in?
I'll tell you, we do, but I have a $50 bill here that if I don't pay in this week, we lose our nonprofit status. So there are things that are gonna come ahead of that plan. I have to swim out from underneath this pile of stuff. And if we don't get the Comcast, then there's some other bills that we're gonna need insurance.
And you might be able, maybe, the point of contact, there's a point of contact at Comcast, and you still have that person's name, number. I used to have a, I don't know, it's called, it's probably a different person now. There's somebody that you can call on.
If you could dig that name up and get it to John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we, maybe, do we have a contact at AT&T, was it?
Comcast, for the
Comcast.
quarterly
So
check.
we can, maybe check on the.
Or maybe you could ask
Check
Tom.
and consent, or,
Yeah,
we got the right address?
Yeah, it should be coming
I almost
any
got
day.
drafted
Yeah,
once,
they
because
really,
my.
I got,
Yeah.
I got that.
My last comment is, I don't know who our attorney is, if PCA has an attorney, but, you know, I just don't know if all this money was spent legally or not, and I think we should have an attorney look at it, and if there's any way we can recoup some money if it was not spent legally, I think we should. That's just how I feel about it. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think Cindy?
Yes.
What do you think about the attorney status? Right now, we don't, I'm not really clear if we have an attorney, if we don't have an attorney.
We have a very expensive attorney.
If the old, if we have access to information the old attorney had in our name, I don't know if we have access to that, that would help answer some questions. Maybe we can find out about some of the settlement money and that sort of thing, if we could get some of his records or get him to respond. And I don't know what the status is
Yeah, I,
with him in general.
yeah. You wanna speak to that?
Yeah, I could say something about
Sure.
that. We, to access settlement, you need to sign a secrecy oath. I think somebody on the board should do that, because there is a possibility to shift that settlement payment and the legal fees to insurance. It's probably very complicated, and you're gonna have to get in deep. And I don't,
I have a letter from the insurance company that came while you were on vacation, asking for a series of documents, and I meant to bring it tonight.
okay, so that is in motion, that's
Is
transfer.
that mail going to City Hall?
Yeah.
It's just that one, because when the attorney filed the claim with the insurance company, then they were supposed to respond back to me, because I was the only person that they knew of to respond back to at that time. So I'm gonna turn that over to you, and you can deal with
Yeah.
responding back to them.
Well,
getting the-
if I may
getting the information.
defer on that, I think that, I don't really wanna sign the secret seal. I don't wanna dig back into the past, I wanna move forward. If somebody on the board would take on that insurance payment maneuver.
And I have the
Yeah.
paperwork that I have every intention of doing that, but I wanna make sure that folks are okay here. Is there somebody else that would rather do that?
Well, does it have to be one person? It can be two
No,
or three,
do you
or
want,
maybe we can
I
all
think
do it.
at very least one person on the current board should have knowledge of what that looks like. Two would be fine.
Okay, I think we should discuss it.
Okay.
Refer to a committee.
See who's, see who.
Refer to a committee, you're saying?
I'm lost, actually.
A lot of records from what's happened here over the past few months have all been sealed, and none of us are allowed to view them without signing a secrecy statement.
I see. For confidentiality reasons, for protection of the people involved.
Right.
It's a
Okay.
personnel issue.
I see. Okay,
So that, our hands are tied somewhat
I understand.
with that.
So you need to designate a person that authorized to view the material.
And to follow through with whatever's necessary to get that sum shifted over to insurance and recover it for the operating expenses.
I think, I just, my opinion is probably, my opinion is that maybe we should have more than one person, two, just
Yeah,
two
well,
or three.
you're a likely person because you're the treasurer.
Oh, yeah, sure, I'd do it. I'd help you.
I knew that was coming.
Lisa.
I'm just trying
I
to
like
get more
it.
help, I'm trying
Well,
to
Richard,
get more help.
Keep an eye
Richard,
on
I
it.
think Stephen could probably help you somewhat too.
So, sure.
Steven got too much on his plate, we can't.
A little busy right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's,
we're still on the finance committee report, is that it?
pardon me?
We're on the finance committee report, is that it?
Yeah, we're still trying to get through this treasurer's
Yeah, I'm
report.
not- I'm not-
Yeah, we're trying to do this blindly because we have no
Well,
paperwork, so.
I'm just trying.
But that doesn't mean that we're not gonna try and recover paperwork and make it available for everybody to view as soon as we piece it together. We're piecemealing right
Is that
now.
what you report then?
Yeah, well, I'm done with the report.
Okay, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention though, because I saw it in the minutes, we did finally get a pink slip for the truck and we squared away all the insurance, so we're good on that. We just have,
We have to just change the name.
we have to change the name and get the present owner to sign the truck over to us.
And who's the present owner?
Well, in name, the owner is Justin.
Okay, that would be nice of Justin.
Doing business as.
Yeah, doing business as PPA.
That would be nice.
Okay, executive director's report, John?
Okay, well, we touched on a lot of what I had to say, and like it was before I left for my vacation, which I thank you all for allowing, I don't have time to make lists, so I don't have a sense of what I'm gonna tell you right now. We talked about the budget and the concerns around the Comcast check. Tomorrow will be devoted to drawing up the third batch of check requests and scaling them by urgency. We had a staff meeting today and we talked about the functioning of the office, the emphasis on membership relations. We're gonna be working out our schedules in a more concrete term. I need to sit down with each staff member and find out what they're getting hourly and what the terms of the relationship are. This is an issue because we have a number of past employees who would love to come back and work here. We've had to we've closed down 3 positions. We're down to 4 staff people, and that's, I think, all we've put right now. So I'm really gonna draw the line around what we've got. Work slow, like a juggler, starting with 3 balls. We get those down, right, 1 more, we'll get 4. We're gonna build slowly. I think August will be important for getting that rhythm into place. September we have a big meeting and we should have some exciting things to develop, which I will end on some brainstorming ideas. We had a lot of trouble with City Hall. I went to City Hall last night to try to explain to viewers what was happening. I didn't make copies for the audience, but I made up copies of an exchange I had with Pamela, our mayor, who wrote me on July 1st and said, "What's going on?" And I was in the middle of coping with it, so I started downloading my information to her in the sense that I wanted to get it down on paper. So there's a copy there for each board member of that exchange. Basically, we moved to City Hall before City Hall was ready for us. In a perfect world where the school gives notice in February and City Hall says, I don't know when exactly City Hall said we could move the servers there, but at that point, the actual servers at CASA should not have been moved until there was a strong, viable connection to Comcast and the DSL was in place. Here it was just done exactly the opposite. We moved the servers and then nothing happened for a week because there were lots of problems with the Comcast signal. Once we got the Comcast signal locked, we didn't have the dead space, but we couldn't program. Francisco couldn't plan what was going to be on at 3 o'clock tomorrow or 4 o'clock. It was live or not at all. That was the problem of getting DSL into place, which we needed to download the program for operating the programming system. That was just completed on Friday last week. There are still some bugs to work out. We need to get remote access. We don't have after-hours access to the facility there. I'm going to try to meet with John Brown and explore the problem with him. I don't foresee getting keys, but we will urgently need to have an emergency number for some Sunday morning when it just breaks and somebody's got to go in and find the plug that fell out.
Excuse me, setting up the remote capability building was going to solve various issues.
I'm looking for the untoward emergency that goes beyond the remote. The remote is allowing us to change things in mid-stride from home. And Helder, I know when I was with Kaza, he was programming on vacation in El Salvador, going to Wi-Fi and cafe, you can do it. We don't have that capacity yet, so we're still working to get that set. In this room here, we just got ADT security installed today. We have individual codes for each staff member, plus one extra if we have interns or somebody coming in on a special basis. And I have one number for the board. We have keys for the front door and the back door, for the equipment room, and I'm gonna give the board also a key to the EV's file cabinet.
Excuse me, is this information available for us?
Sure, you can look at it.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
It's a kind of a blow-by-blow history piece of how we walked through that one, basically 4 days from July 1st to July 4th. And the scope of City Hall problems, we became aware of them. I wanted to say, for where we could head with PCA in stimulating programming, there was, I don't know how many people saw it, but there was a letter to the editor the week following my piece that I thought was really interesting. Somebody named, if anybody knows him, I'd like to meet him, Charles Parker, wrote in and said it'd be great if we could get indie film documentaries and show them. And that's a very interesting idea that I'd like to explore. We've lost the studio, and losing the studio is not just a big room with lights. It's a fiber connection to Comcast where we can go live and get it on the air that instant. We do have editing setups and we have the cameras, so we're gonna really try to pump that activity with our members, creating shows around town. I'll be giving workshops. I'll try to set up mentor situations where somebody who knows Final Cut Pro can come in and work with somebody on their project. But we're really going to try to redynamize the crew lists and a stable of members who are willing to crew on other people's projects.
So when we're filming from the trailer, we can't do that live?
That's not live. Goes to tape, and you bring the tape in.
Okay.
John, if we park that trailer happen to be near a hookup?
We could explore that. We have live fiber to from City Hall to Comcast and from Lucchese Center to City Hall, which then can go back to Comcast. So we have two places where we can go live. Obviously, City Council's here to broadcast live. We might be able to go live radio from here, just through the DSL. And Leo was saying that it's not that hard to get fiber this far, so maybe there's ways to explore that in the future. I applaud Zen's comments about the Phoenix. There's an agenda item where I would like to address a real concrete way to make that bridge start to happen. And what else do I want to talk about? I do have this exchange is relative to the closed session subject we discussed last week, so I wanted to give that to board members as well.
Okay.
So I think one for each board member, and we have one absence.
And just so the public knows, our closed session last month had to do with,
It's in the minutes.
yeah. It was a personnel matter for a former employee who was terminated.
Question mark, was?
Yeah, I know, it could either be self-terminated or terminated.
I think that's all I have to say. I mean, I got plenty to say, but
Okay,
we'll get it
does,
from, the agenda items, not like that.
thank you, John. Does anyone have questions for John?
I just want to say, I know these are adverse circumstances, and I really appreciate you stepping in. And I know it's confusing, and you just need to give some flexibility and latitude. I think everybody really wants total transparency about what happened in finances and all. So I really appreciate you being willing to step in and to create this sort of situation.
Thank you.
When you talk about community radio project, maybe be that or on the radio, you know, live maybe, do you mean on TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you do that and not, how can you do that and not have a little mini studio?
Because to send visual images through DSL,
Oh.
they come out, it doesn't work. It comes out
Oh,
very
okay.
It's a
degraded.
bandwidth issue.
It's a bandwidth.
That's really good.
Sound is
I had
easy.
no
We can get
idea.
the sound, if we can generate a title card from City Hall and just run the sound through the DSL, it's fine.
That's really good, because that's one thing about having it live. I know in our new general plan, there's some things in there about PCA as far as emergency services in case there's
Yeah.
a flood or earthquake, so, I mean, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that's on the top agenda, and I could respond now also to your comment about the website. The website for me is a luxury if it's anything more than a bulletin board for posting in messages, information about what we're doing. I think trying to run the radio on it was a mistake. I don't think it was getting the hits it deserved or warranted. And, you know, streaming video and all that, that's nice. It'd be great to get there, but right now we gotta trim our sails and just get people making TV again.
Um,
And-
Can you maybe put maybe the agendas and the schedule?
totally, totally, and I'm going to get
On TV,
on TV.
on bulletin board,
Yep.
like we used to?
Oh, yeah.
Is that easy?
That's not hard.
I mean, I'll volunteer and someone wants to teach me how to do it, I can do a bit, help with the bulletin board, and I don't know how to do it, but someone wants to teach me
Oh, I
how.
learned how to do that.
And maybe Marcella help me.
Yeah, if you could just
No, I
like
could say that
something
there
and
are-
send it to Francisco,
there are
he could put it on.
3 ways the public, the members can help us right now. One is to get on a committee and really do intensive work on a certain subject. The other is to volunteer specifically for a task, like an intern, but without trying to get great credit for it. And Carolyn Torliet has offered to do that for membership relations. I spoke about that last month. The other is to make television, to make content, because really we're going to be very precise about the staff not being the producers of the TV shows. We will do butter and eggs, we'll send somebody out at the mobile truck for sure, but there's not gonna be this situation where we come in and the staff runs out to to cover some event. If we can get volunteers to do it, it'll get covered. If we can't, it won't. And it's our job to stimulate that pool of active, creative, interested people.
And one thing about having the bulletin board is a way to get information out to people, and so, since the website isn't being updated for the schedule, we used to have that on TV, so every day would say what's gonna be on, and then, so is that something that Marcella and I could volunteer to do? Is that hard to do, so you don't take, or is that
I don't know
Francisco's
yet.
job? I mean, I don't know.
It's Francisco's job, right now, but right now we're just scrambling to get back to normal.
Okay.
But we'll, like I say, in August, we'll be able to address
Okay.
the finer details.
Okay, we're ready to move on? Okay, we had no items for the consent calendar, and, with regard to reports of committees, there's nothing to report because nobody met over this last month. However, I wanna turn that around and get us meeting as we're supposed to, especially as an executive committee and a finance committee. And certainly, the nominating committee, we need to get that up and running right away. Oh, and the bylaws committee, Diane, you and Cassandra were gonna,
Well, I thought we were gonna be talking about combining member/community advisory committee.
Right.
If the bylaws would be included in that,
okay, I couldn't decipher my notes, but I thought that's what I had down.
I mean, it sounds like Zems wants to do the bylaw
Yeah.
committee, so I have, but one thing that, our rules, I mean, we went back to the old rules, and so the membership rules, and, I mean, that would be under John, and whenever he, I don't wanna give him too big of a headache. And as far as having what forms have to be filled out, and how you get a program in the air, I mean, Cassandra and I
Yeah.
could work with you on that.
Well, the bylaws are different than the
Right.
user's
User,
manual,
right.
policies and procedures. They're both need to be reviewed.
Whatever, like I said, whatever I can do to help John and
Okay.
Lloyd, I'm willing to do, so.
I think the reason we were focusing more on the bylaws at this point,
I agree, they should be separate.
Mhm.
Right now, let Carolyn Twillier